And after that, we're going to a surprise party for Sophie. No, Mom, that's Marilyn. Sophie's another mom in our mom's group. GFL? Girls for a Lifetime? No, Mom, I think you mean BFFs. And yeah, we are becoming really close. Anyways, one of the girls in our group, Sophie, is having a really hard year. Just a lot of things in her family. So we wanted to do something special for her birthday. So we thought a surprise party might show her that, her friends really do care. Well, gifts, sort of. See what you think of this. We're calling it Presents of Our Presents. Presents of Our Presents. No, Mom, we're not shortening it to P-O-O-P, poop. And it is not at all like that party at Aunt Lucy's. That was more like Treasures from the Trash. Remember that creepy looking lampshade that looked like Mount Rushmore that I got? No, this is totally different. Presents of Our Presents. It's a play on words, Mom. Something we do for her is the gift. Our presents is the present. Do you get it? Yes, exactly. I know, I thought so too, and I think Sophie will really like it. This whole mom's group thing has really become a gift to all of us, and I just don't know what I'd do without them. There's just a lot of love growing between us. LOL, what do you mean? No, Mom, LOL does not mean lots of love. Mom, I think you're better off with sticking with real words when you talk from now on.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I love the idea of the present of our presents. It's probably, honestly, because my love language is acts of service. And so I feel loved when somebody helps me with something. That makes such a difference. But I think any mom would feel loved if somebody gave them the present of their presence.
The more that I get to know my strengths and my weaknesses, the more comfortable I feel giving and receiving. The places that I have strengths are the places that I can give and bless others, and my weaknesses are the gaps where my friends are able to step in.
And sometimes though, when we're serving others, we have to do things that aren't necessarily a strength or a weakness. They just need to be done. Like, I know I've helped a friend move, and who has the gift of washing out kitchen cabinets? I mean, come on, none of us do. It's no fun, it's kind of sometimes dirty work, and we just have to do it. But still, I think that we have so much to offer each other. So do any of you guys have like a time when somebody offered help? Maybe somebody gave you help that you didn't ask for, but you were so appreciative, or a time maybe where you just simply stepped in and said, you know what, I'm gonna help you with this.
You just talked about moving. My husband and I had 1 week to move our entire family, and had no time to pack boxes or anything, so everything was a mess to begin with. And on top of that, I had family visiting from Trinidad. And
so she just throw a lot in there.
So we, all my friends, they just came and they just dug into the closets and pulled everything out and just threw it in trucks and moved it. And it was wonderful. I didn't ask, and they just knew what had to be done, and they just did it. So, but yeah, that was a blessing to me.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's good. I know. I'm just thinking about. It was a really dark time in my life when my husband went through a midlife crisis, and he just became so depressed, so disillusioned with life. He eventually left for about 4 months before he returned home, and I remember the night that he left. I had texted three of my friends and let them know that I was, what had happened. And within an hour, all three were on my doorstep. And I was so grateful for that. I mean, honestly, there have been other seasons in my life I would not have had three friends to text at that point in time. But I was so glad that I've been investing in friendships, because I wasn't planning on crisis to happen, but it did, you know. And so I was so glad that I actually had some people to call. And so I think a lot of times, you know, we think that, oh, I don't have time for friends, or I don't have time to do that, or my focus is on my family right now. But the truth is, we don't know when crisis is going to hit. So we really need to have some like friendship in the bank that we can withdraw from, you know? So I think that's really important. But I just remember they really gave me the present of their presence that particular night. Yeah, it was huge. What about you, Sunitha?
My husband plows snow in the winter, and depending on how much snow we get, sometimes he'll be gone for several hours up to a day, and I'm home with our kids, going a little stir crazy sometimes because we live out in the country and I can't get out on the roads. And our friend that lives down the road will come up with her kids and take my kids out playing in the snow just to give me a little bit of a break. And yeah, so, and I don't like the cold, so I'm happily allowing her to go out with my kids and play in the snow.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Good. We need friends that do that for us. And I don't like the cold either. I didn't have a friend, though, that would come and play with my kids. So that would have been a nice gift to have. I think that this is so important to think about what we have to give others, what the importance of receiving. Because here's the other thing, too. I think we all easily give, but we struggle with receiving, you know, because we don't want to put somebody out. But the truth is, when somebody needs to experience the joy of giving, somebody has to receive. So sometimes we get to be on the receiving end, so somebody else can enjoy that time of giving. So I think it's important.
So I have this friend, I was texting with her saying, oh, you know, my son is sick, I have to stay home, you know, and it was winter, it was cold, I didn't want to, you know, I couldn't go anywhere, I was really frustrated, and he'd been sick for a couple of days, and so she just came and she brought me a Starbucks drink and a Starbucks croissant, and I was just like, I mean, it just like made my day. I was like, well, I'm gonna be okay, you know. Just that little boost in my day made it okay. And you know, she did something for me that I actually couldn't do at that moment. I couldn't go get Starbucks, and you know, but it meant a lot in that moment. That's just that little thing. So,
and I would imagine too that you know, I could imagine that maybe somebody's even watching as we're talking about this and is struggling because, oh, I wish I had a friend that would do that. I wish I had a friend. And sometimes we have to be the friend first. You know, that's hard to hear stories like this, but that's usually a clue that the best place to start is to be that for someone. And it might be reciprocated, it might not. And so we have to be okay knowing that at least we are taking steps in the right direction. I think that's what's most important.
In the book, I share a time where I had to be the initiator of that. And we had just moved to a new community, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any of my neighbors, but I wanted to start to get to know them. And what little interaction we had was just a wave here or there. And so my husband and I decided that we were going to do a block party. And we decided to invite all of our neighbors to our house. And let me tell you that there was fear involved with that.
It was summer. You guys were outside, right?
It was summer. We were outside. Yep.
Gotcha.
And so we walked up to every single neighbor's house with our kids in tow and personally invited them to our house for this cookout. Because we figured a personal invitation would go a little bit further than just mailing an invitation. And so we were concerned that some people would reject that, and some people did, but out of 25 homes, we had 11 represented. And it ended up being such a great time of getting to know our neighbors. In fact, one of my neighbors said to me that she had lived there for 50 years and had never met her neighbors before.
That's crazy.
And so this not only like us, us stepping out of our comfort zone allowed her the opportunity to also get to know her neighbors and for them to do that. So it's stepping out of our comfort zone is an important piece of the giving and the receiving, and is something that we have to do sometimes. Have you guys ever had to do that, where you've had to push out of your comfort zone?
I would say anytime I have to like step out, because I am an introvert, and so I just naturally want to hole up. So anytime I do that, it's somewhat out of my comfort zone, because I want to default to what's most comfortable.
And when I first moved up here, my closest friends were my sister-in-laws. And then something happened, and I was forced to reach out of that comfort zone to meet new people. And I mean, it was really hard. It was a very hard time, but God used it, and you know, I have wonderful, wonderful friends out of that.
Out of a trial, there you go. Yeah, that's good.
So, right out of high school, I went overseas with a missions organization. And everybody was new. I didn't know anyone there. They were from all over the world, and the people we were with. And I always taken my time getting to know people, because I had time. I could, you know, slowly vet them. But this was a shorter segment, so I had to open up quicker, and I had to accept people quicker, and basically speed up my regular process. And it was completely worth it, because I really felt like I made some really strong friendships with people that I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't tried and worked at it. And I think that's, I guess, back to the point that it's friendships do take intentionality and work, but they're worth it. They're completely worth it. And I can't imagine if I would have not chosen to step out and to try to get to know these people on a deeper level. If I would have just stayed in my regular, you know, way of making friends, I would have really missed out.
Yeah, you would have. It's such a good reminder that, you know, one of the things we say in the book is you have to be forward to move a friendship forward. And so that could be in giving and receiving help. It could just simply be in, you know, trying to launch a new friendship, get to know somebody. For most of us, being forward is out of our comfort zone, but it's still important. So that's good. All right, so I have our tip of the day, and this comes out of our kind of clean eating journey. After my breast cancer, we kind of changed the way that we've been eating, and really removed refined sugar from our diet, and yet I am a peanut butter and a chocolate girl, so I love me some peanut butter and chocolate. And so anyway, I have these peanut butter chocolate freezer brownies that I love. So you have to serve them cold, and you have to serve them out of the freezer, but they are so yummy. So I thought I'd show you. I've already got part of it made, so I've got the lower level made, which is the peanut butter part, which is primarily just peanut butter, maple syrup, and coconut oil, and a little bit of salt. And then what you actually do is you make the top part, you just simply melt some coconut oil, makes it easy, and you just add a little bit of maple syrup into the coconut oil. And then you're actually going to add in cocoa as well. And then you use your whisk to whisk it all up. And it's amazing how quickly it will just become that great chocolate layer. Yummy, 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 yummy. And once it's whisked together, I always add just a little bit of vanilla. It's about half a teaspoon of vanilla, but I don't measure anything. And vanilla is, you can never have too much vanilla. In fact, a dear friend of mine taught me that you should always double vanilla in all of your recipes. And it just makes things really, really yummy. And then add a little bit of sea salt to it. And throw that in there. And then once you've done that, you've got your topping. And honestly, you can even eat this. You can freeze this as, well, you could just eat it with a spoon if you want to. But you're just going to add it on here.
That looks delicious.
I know. It is so, so yummy. Now, once I get it on there, I'll tell you the easiest thing to do is I just tip it until it covers everything. Throw it in the freezer, and then it is ready. Thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, we mom better when we mom together.